Family Leonardo, me Nasila on multimedia, the CEO voice of Salon. Today I come for talk to now, my family, make una continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel and share to our friends them. As we always try to bring on the latest news what they happen around Salon, whether it be politics or any other news them what they happen or gossip what they bring out to now live and direct. So please, my family, don't forget to subscribe and share to our friends them. You wanna touch the bell icon so that you don't miss any video we will try for bring out to now. So that's also we want make una don't forget also for subscribe to we TikTok channel on TikTok and also on Facebook or Facebook page or the Voice of Salon or also the on Instagram Voice of Salon, please family. And don't forget to share. Okay, thank you now. Tata.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله وجعلنا من بين أيديه سدا ومن خلفه سدا فعصيناهم فهم لا يبصرون حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله إن أمره يرد شأن أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء ولا ترجعون مع بعد السلام عليكم يا جماعة والمسلمين والمسلمات. Shalom to we Christian brothers and sisters both home and the diaspora. This is the golden voice of the APC Encyclopedia, the Britannica, the socio-political analyst, the voice of the voiceless, the whistleblower, the lion of the social media, the regional publicity secretary Southern region under the ticket of the mighty, indomitable All People's Congress Party. Fellow Sierra Leoneans, fellow listeners, comrades on both home and the diaspora, as you know, say the Encyclopedia media always embark on civic education for continue for educate, inform, sensitize, conscientize, and raise awareness to we people in our lovely and daily Mama Salon on daily happenings and on burning issues. So uno stay tuned, uno stay fixed, uno stay blessed, uno stay connected to the Encyclopedia media for uno listening pleasure is absolutely guaranteed. TGIS, thank God today now Saturday the 22nd November 2025. We audio and presentation today, they lead on three topics. We will talk about war against indiscipline, war against corruption, and war against poverty as promised by the state looters political party, now the Republic of Sierra Leone, vis-a-vis democratic accountability. So stay connected to the Encyclopedia media. The Southeast Pauper State Looters Political Party, Mende Shabro, murderous warlord, promised the citizens of Sierra Leone with three wars. One, now the war against indiscipline. Two, now the war against corruption. And three, now the war against poverty, where they promised the people of Sierra Leone with a democratic accountability. But ladies and gentlemen, fellow listeners, comrades all both home and the diaspora, now we get from the horse's mouth.
During my inaugural address, I launched three peaceful democratic wars. First, a war on indiscipline. Second, a war on corruption. And third, a war on poverty. Today we are here to affirm that the peaceful democratic war on corruption is unstoppable, unmistakable, and winnable. And it is a war that we must win. I have fully empowered the Anti-Corruption Commission to use all legal powers to relentlessly investigate and prosecute all cases of corruption, even in my administration. Therefore, let me make this solemn promise to the nation that anyone found wanting of corruption in my administration will be promptly removed from public office and subjected to the full force of the law. This is about democratic accountability and our collective determination to win the war against corruption. Let me end by reiterating that all those who will be invited by the commissions of inquiry must fully comply. Anyone, and I repeat, anyone who fails to honor the invitation of the commissions of inquiry will face the full force of the law. I therefore formally launch the commissions of inquiry.
So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow listeners, comrades all, this now the three wars they will deliberate on today: war against indiscipline, war against corruption, and war against poverty, as promised by the state Luther's political party to the people of Sierra Leone vis-a-vis democratic accountability. Now, let me talk first about the war against indiscipline, when at WAI. The war against indiscipline, now a 1984 mass mobilization program by the Muhammad Buhari military administration na Nigeria, we been the four citizens then for kill in an orderly manner and for be punctual and for obey traffic laws, the punishment for infractions, work ethics, nationalism, and sanitation. Here, the law against indiscipline or the war against indiscipline, now with Ali Mama Salon, under the state Luther's political party, na torture, na police brutality, na military high-handedness, na extrajudicial killings, na strategic ethnic cleansing of Northwesterners then, thief the people's mandate, threaten the people's bullet for bullet after they don't thief the election, confiscates their property then, the houses there and the lands there of Northwesterners there, with jungle justice, with vigilante justice, with mob justice, abolish the death penalty and replace them with state-sponsored massacres, seize dead body them from their loved ones and their families there, and bury them in mass graves. This was the war against indiscipline launched by the state Luther's political party. This is the pauper state Luther's murderous political party, then war against indiscipline with selective justice and constitutional bastardization, victimization, marginalization, thuggery, gangsterism, and political violence. We talk about the war against corruption. The war against corruption now a global effort for use legal, institutional, and community-based strategies then for combat and fight corruption. We include bribery, embezzlement, and the abuse of power. This multifaceted fight involves international agreements like the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, government action, short as for strengthening laws then, asset recovery, and public participation through reporting misconduct and promoting transparency. This na in the political weapon we Power Bill use against the All People's Congress Party sell-out executive today, we tie themselves in the Kangaroo Commissions of Inquiry white paper, ladies and gentlemen, where he also use for deceive the international community just for go hard on him political opponents there unnoticed. But you don't go taste or which hunt your political opponents of corruption while you are the most corrupt with a racketeering enterprise regime with tribalistic ayampi stem, we don't empty with state coppers and cover them with blanket by the state looters, cover corruption commission, Namama Salon. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow listeners, comrades all, today the hunters don't become the hunted with a corrupt police, a corrupt military, a corrupt parliament, a corrupt judiciary, a corrupt office of national security, a corrupt political party regulation commission, a corrupt electoral commission, a corrupt human rights commission, a corrupt statistics Sierra Leone, a corrupt national civil registration authority, a corrupt state house, a corrupt judiciary, a corrupt civil society organization, a corrupt ministry, department, and agencies, all state independent democratic institutions, they don't capture them with grand and massive corruption unchecked, with impunity. The one day we don't loot in the pauper government, then they only ask them for payback and still occupy them in position of trust with tribalistic and fraudulent behavior. Alpha Timbo, with the accused of one shipwrecks, with then given by the Chinese government for complement the school feeding program under the epileptic and paralytic quantity education, young nothing. The former chief minister, Professor David John Francis, accused of $1.5 million debt, young the billions of loans with a squander under the hands of our girls, young the Tomabom Rice Project funds, young 800 new billion euros after they don't redenominate with new currency, young $68 million with them bribe only for recall the old leons now the Central Bank of Sierra Leone by the pauper former bank governor when a professor Kefala Morana Kalong today. Young ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans, the one that we have come for can we war on corruption. Billions of leons and millions of United States dollars we are squandered. Now the lead way coming of Bio and Babadi on timber logging. All the money then they ying. The money we meant for we diagnostic hospital. When a ultra modern hospital, when they say all the money when they recall from the Anti-Corruption Commission, then they bill for the people of Sierra Leone. Ying the corona money we then use for buy SUV and build mansions then abroad. Ying the glaring corruption of the pauper clerk of parliament, Paran Tarawali, a sack over 100 people and divert the money na in private account. Employ in wealth na America in absentia. They receive thousands of United States dollar. Ladies and gentlemen, today they don't elevate her to National Secretary General of the state looters political party. See anybody with the accused of corruption in your administration, it is step aside. People they will not qualify for hold any public office due to the corruption scandal today. Then the whole office, guy like Dr. Dennis Sandide, where they be accused of corruption, then close all the leakages there and open the turbines and reservoir to themselves. The one they wake up for wage war on corruption in 2018 alone, then squander 177 billion 500. In 2020, then squander 153 billion 900. In 2021, then squander 175 billion. In 2022, then squander 317 billion. In 2023, then squander over 233 billion. Not talking about 2024 and 2025. December 9 approach so today. They know they debate the Auditor General in report by the stage managed pauper Auditor General Abdulaziz after the credible former Auditor General accused the office of the president for money laundering double dipping, forging of hotel tickets, then Saka illegally in collaboration with the APC brown envelope MPs. This are the fight against corruption. This is not the war with them way against corruption. Fellow listeners, comrades all, both home and the diaspora. The war on poverty. Today, the war on poverty, where they can't fight, where they say forget Tomabum rice, pass with the export rice na Guinea and the sub-region. The Tomabum project, it don't become a white elephant. The Acorn solar light, the bread and butter economy, the feed saloon don't become kill saloon with hunger, despair, abject poverty, separation, joblessness, hopelessness, lawlessness, recklessness, and excruciating hardship, including exploitative taxes on mobile tariff, electricity tariff, toll road, national identity card, fraud checkpoints then, highlighting them, exploitative GST, teachers them, nurses them, and government workers them. They know they pay them on time with the paychance when they give them. The schools them, they struggle for subsidies. High university fees with massive dropout. Female students then today don't engage in commercial prostitution. No infrastructural development. No good roads. No good medical, a paralytic electricity, the 3 million jobs where they promise the youth of Sierra Leone for human capital development. Now through a killer drug called Kush, where they import for can kill and destroy the young generation. No political freedom, no credible journalism. Everything na a mess. This na the war on poverty by the pauper state looters political party. Today, Sierra Leoneans they go to bed with worms and kidney. Today, Sierra Leone they don't label as the second unhappiest country na the whole world. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow listeners, comrades all, both home and the diaspora, fellow Sierra Leoneans, while the state looters, political party don't empty with state coffers there, then they use them for higher international jets there, plunder with state minerals, use them for bribe, only forget legitimacy. Now legitimacy not to through the ballot box, but not through bribery with state minerals then. So the war on poverty, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans, comrades all, where them people here can fight, they inherit a bag of rice at 180,000 in 2018. Today, the one day we can fight poverty, the rice go nearest to 2 million per bag. Fellow listeners, the one day we can we war on poverty, they inherit a liter of fuel at 6,000. Today, under the new regime, 25 to 30,000 leons. The one day we can wage war on poverty. Sardine 2018, the 3 tin are 10,000 leons. Today, 18 of sardine, now 25 to 30,000 leons. The one day we can for can wage war on poverty. They inherit the United States dollar, 700 to 750,000 for $100 today. 100 United States dollar now 2,500,000. So they use the criminal pauper tactics for remove the 3 zeros then from the currency for let it sound low. 1 million, then call her 1,000. 5 million, then call her 5,000. Ladies and gentlemen, 10 million today, then they call her 10,000. This na the pauper rankonomics for impoverish and exploit the poor people of Sierra Leone and provoke them with a feed saloon. The war on poverty, after they don't fail on their fraudulent and exploitative free quality education today, the education will get not only fraudulent education, but an exploitative communication. Fellow listeners, comrades all, both home and the diaspora. Worst of it all, Then they talk about democratic accountability. Fellow listeners, comrades all, for we listeners that we don't know what's in a democratic accountability. Democratic accountability, it implies to a governance where based on feedback, where they learn from experience, where they inform by the consent of the governed. Democratic accountability, now the principles that elected officials then and government institutions then, therefore responsible and answerable to the people they wouldn't deserve. This requires the one that within a power for explain and justify the actions and the decisions then to the citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, either for reward them or for sanction them through elections, where they align governance with the public then will and interest. Here the people they mandate today, they don't differ through fraud elections, through bullets by bullets, manipulate and thwart the will of the people. No transparency and accountability to the people of Sierra Leone. Now listen to the core principle of democratic accountability. Effective democratic accountability, it rely on several key elements then. Number one, na answerability and justification. Public officials then for provide information and reason explanation for the decisions then and conduct what they do to the people of Sierra Leone when at the first step of accountability. Fellow Sierra Leoneans, ladies and gentlemen, comrades all, both home and the diaspora. The two now transparency and openness. Citizens then forget the right for access information about government the operation, about government in budget and decision-making processes. Transparency they make it easier for monitor government the actions. We get responsiveness, officials then for consult and listen to citizens then and the representative there for ensure say the policy decisions there they reflect public demand and needs. We get what we call enforceability and sanction. Therefore, be formal and informal mechanism then, like voting a representative out of office, judicial rulings, and public protesting for imposed consequences then for misconduct or poor performance. Democratic accountability, they operate through a system of complementary mechanism we often categorize as vertical and horizontal accountability. Waiting this mean to be listeners then. Vertical accountability, it refer to the relationship between the citizens then, then are the principals and the state agents there, when are the agents there or the power holders there. Number two, now elections, the most institutionalized way for citizens then for reward or punish elected representative then is based on the past performance for election for be effectively accountable and provide accountable mechanism for real competition. But today, the one day where they vote, they know they decide nothing. Now the one day where they count the vote, they decide for the people of Sierra Leone. Ladies and gentlemen, here the Pauper State Looters political party, junta military regime, now what did they do? Them involve all them party bootlickers there with brown envelope, inculcate them and the civil society organizations, then pollute and contaminate journalism, put them people there for brigade journalism, for vilification and fraudulent journalism. Today, the voters, they know mean nothing. So the use of democratic accountability by the pauper Southeast Mende Shabro warlord, now a deceptive propaganda. Civil society and media, non-governmental organizations, then the NGOs, then the social movements, then and independence, active media, then therefore act as watchdog for monitor government the actions, publicize the findings, and mobilize public opinion. Here we are today with tribalistic, partisan, regionalistic, and pauperistic CSO, where they hide under civil activism for trumpet the undemocratic rule of the state looters political party government. We get media then today, we partisan, we well paid for embark on vilification and fraudulent journalism. Today we get a state capture, the public participation, mechanisms then, like petition, public forums then, and the right to information legislation allow citizens then for directly demand information and influence policies then. That not they happen today, fellow Sierra Leoneans, we said and tell we say about democratic accountability. There is no access to information, even though we get the law. Now we law books then, public documents then today, then they declare them as classified document, secret document. Election results then don't become a secret society because of the fraud and manipulation and daylight thieving where they do autocratically against the people of Sierra Leone. Horizontal accountability, this involves the checks and the balances within the state structure. We are in different government institutions there, then they hold each other accountable. Ladies and gentlemen, today they all don't conspire against the citizens of Sierra Leone for dupe them, for fraud them, for extort them, for exploit them, for their own political or personal aggrandizement and self-egoism. The legislative, when at the parliament, gets the formal mandate for oversee the executive branch, including for monitor executive power, for scrutinize budget, and for initiate impeachment processes. Here today, the parliament and the executive, they all don't gang up against the people of Sierra Leone, loot the people they mandate, loot we wealth them, plunder with state resources as criminal-minded representatives. The judiciary for ensure say no government agency stand above the rule of law and the legal responsibility for being met. Here today, we get a pauper pocketed a remote control judiciary wherein they use as a political weapon for crackdown on political opponents. This are the democratic accountability where then they tell we about. Now, Mama Salone, they wage war on indiscipline, they wage war on corruption, and they wage war on poverty. We forget independent oversight institutions then, administrative bodies then, short as the ombudsman, the attorney general, the audit institutions then, the supreme audit institutions then, for fight corruption, including the anti-corruption commission, tasked with the responsibility for monitor compliance and performance. But today, we don't get anti-corruption, but now cover corruption commission we get for protect the pauper Santibokians and Ajampis. Corruption fight today don't become selective and witch hunting for paralyze effective opposition, for muzzle political opponents there and hold on to political power fraudulently. The Auditor General and in deputy, Madam Lara Tilopias and in deputy Tamba Momo, they illegally sacked them only for accuse the office of the president for forgery, double dipping, and money laundering. So tell me, where is the democratic accountability? Where is the war against corruption? When they want the way they expose corruption, then they sack them illegally. Fellow listeners, comrades all, both home and the diaspora, when a credible journalist with investigative journalism, Salute Janjalo, he exposed the former chief minister, David Francis, for embezzle and squander $1.5 million of the taxpayers' money. Now what did they do? Then chase her, then manhandle her, then arrest her, then go incarcerate her illegally. What about Thomas More Konteh? Then go ransacking office. What about Thomas Dixon? Then brutally chase them. What about Babadi? They arrest her illegally and detain her, only for expose the pauper state looters, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leonean communists all. What about lawyer Charles Francis Kondo Magai? When a constitutional lawyer, we expose the ECSL. He take them to court, say Konteh not competent for conduct the election of Sierra Leone. Konteh not competent for become or appointed as electoral commissioner or chief electoral commissioner. We just Magai Kedra case in a court, na Supreme Court. What happened for hold the ECSL accountable? The molester, the intimidator, the old man. We are one of the architects of the 1991 Constitution. What about Suri Sengbe Mara? We use the law, access of information. He go to the office. He write a letter to ECSL for avail the June 24, 2023 election result as per disaggregated data. They no gear. He go to court to the power judiciary to no avail, no justice. Where is the democratic accountability, fellow Sierra Leoneans, with a chronic and fraud institutions there? We don't embark on money laundering, double dipping, ammunition and drug trafficking, the hosting of drug lords as in-laws, cannibalistic and ritualistic regime. We believe in violence, thuggery, extrajudicial massacres, burning of houses of political opponent, usurping general election through the barrels of the gun, lavishly lavishing our state resources for the personal aggrandizement and self-egoism. Then they deal with the state as if not the personal property, hiding, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans, under the cloaks of thievery, under the cloaks of corruption, ladies and gentlemen, dreadful and terroristic wolves in silk clothing, fellow Sierra Leoneans. Where is the democratic accountability today in Mama Salone? So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow listeners, comrades all, we just come and sensitize with people then for let them understand about the three wars with them way against the people of Sierra Leone. The war on indiscipline, the war on corruption, and the war on poverty and democratic accountability. How the stage manager, how they manipulate them, how they do it only for political gain and not for the betterment of Mama Salone. You listen to the horse's mouth.
During my inaugural address, I launched 3 peaceful democratic wars. First, a war on indiscipline. Second, a war on corruption. And third, a war on poverty. Today we are here to affirm that the peaceful democratic war on corruption is unstoppable, unmistakable, and winnable. And it is a war that we must win. I have fully empowered the Anti-Corruption Commission to use all legal powers to relentlessly investigate and prosecute all cases of corruption, even in my administration. Therefore, let me make this solemn promise to the nation that anyone found wanting of corruption in my administration will be promptly removed from public office and subjected to the full force of the law. about democratic accountability and our collective determination to win the war against corruption. Let me end by reiterating that all those who will be invited by the commissions of inquiry must fully comply. Anyone, and I repeat, anyone who fails to honor the invitation of the commissions of inquiry will face the full force of the law. I therefore formally launch the commissions of inquiry. Thank you.
Fellow listeners, this was the fraudulent political weapon used to trample and to entangle the sell-out leadership of the All People's Congress Party, who are today dancing